Greetings people, this is Benedict Terry. Now for those of you who aren't aware, animation is a long and often quite tedious process. It's enjoyable to see what you've made with all those hours, but you have to be patient. Plus I'm studying at university at the moment, so that's time gone, and YouTube's algorithm is already biased against animators as it is. So to get around the upload issue, I've started a new review series, since ripping on other people's work is a hell of a lot easier than doing it yourself. But where to start? Something popular? Something outright atrocious? Probably best to play it safe and to review something in the public domain. Lucky for me, it means I get to kick off with a cartoon by the Fleischer brothers, and I'll start with a personal favourite of mine, the Cobweb Hotel.
While Max and Dave Fleischer may be more well known for their black and white cartoons, there are actually a lot of cartoons that they made in colour, but this sticks out to me for one reason.
It was the first one of their works I ever watched.
Released in 1936, the Cobweb Hotel is easily overlooked, but it's considered to be one of the better entries in the Colour Classics series by animation fans and Fleischer fans alike.
Let's take a magnifying glass to this insect to the point where we set it on fire and get a closer look.
Now the film starts with the Fleischer brothers' desk in desperate need of dusting.
I mean seriously, that wouldn't pass the white glove test.
It's here where we're introduced to the hotel's owner, this very shifty looking spider.
Spend the night at the Cobweb Hotel. You find that the service is well. Now you needn't be shy.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to guess this guy's name isn't Lucas.
The Cobweb Hotel. Come into my parlor, please do.
Jeez, either that spider intends to eat his guests or he's just got a very sick sense of humour.
On the other hand, though, it is a very clever way to capture flies. And speak of the devil, here comes some flies.
The register.
I don't blame him. If someone addressed me like that, I'd be more than a little suspicious. The register!
Now make yourselves at home while I prepare your room. I'll be right back.
And don't mind me if I decide to eat you while I'm busy. Force of habit, you know.
After about a minute of fluff and a few homemade touches, the room is ready.
Here is your sweet.
I should have had that hole fixed days ago.
With this lack of proper maintenance, Mr. Spider's true intentions are fully revealed.
Again, if someone said breakfast to me like that at any point... Breakfast!
So Mrs. Fly is relegated to damsel in distress while Mr. Fly is the one fighting back.
It was a different time.
But Mr. Spider has a little trick up his sleeve, or rather his backside.
Yeehaw! Let's wrangle up some cattle!
But soon enough, Mr. Fly starts to turn up the heat.
Sorry, couldn't help it, that gag was dynamite.
But still, he sure got the hot seat. So seeing that Mr. Fly has the upper hand, Mr. Spider decides to play dirty.
Foiled by common office stationery.
With his enemy rendered helpless, Mr. Spider now goes full Cuphead with him. But a lucky shot puts Mr. Fly back in fighting form. And back out of it again. So how does he get himself out of this mess?
Spoiler, he doesn't. But not in that way, no.
Because speaking of getting yourself out of a mess...
What? A woman getting herself out of trouble? What have these Fleischer brothers smoked lately?
Having freed herself, Mrs. Fly makes like Jacinda Ardern and frees everyone else, thus allowing everyone to turn the tables on the terrible tarantula. At this point, Mr. Spider concedes defeat, but that doesn't mean these flies are done with him just yet.
Well, at least he didn't get an embarrassing villain's epitaph.
At the end of it all, the flies sing a true reprise as they leave the Cobweb Hotel, having apparently crowned Mr. and Mrs. Fly king and queen for some reason.
And that was the Cobweb Hotel. So what's my thoughts on it?
Well, yes, I'm going to be a little biased because I grew up with it, but nostalgia aside, this cartoon is still pretty good. I can only imagine how good this looked back in the day, especially those 3D models creating 3D effects in the background, and its use of real-world props throughout is very well utilised and imaginative, and its dark sense of humour at times is also used to its advantage. Maybe the animation needed a little polishing up here and there, but overall it's still pretty good. Needless to say, this is easily one of the Fleischer Brothers' best in their Color Classics series, even elevating itself to the same levels as Superman, Betty Boop, Popeye, all the rest of them.
In other words, give this one a watch if you haven't seen it already. My name's Benedict Terry, and that's all I got for now. See you later.